All right, let's start over. Welcome to the stream. Now that there's sound, welcome to the stream and welcome to the replay for those of you watching for tomorrow. Thanks for catching that. I appreciate that. Anyway, yeah, isn't it cool watching me mouth the words? Better, loud and clear, good. All right, welcome to the stream, everybody. I'm glad you could make it, and I'm glad we got the sound on. I knew there was going to be something I was going to forget, and forget I did. So, anyway, my review of the Custom Saber Shop Neopixel Connectors, which are fantastic. I got them in a couple of days ago. It took me about 2 days to get things put together. It was really simple once I figured out one small issue. Thankfully, I have a multimeter and was able to figure it out relatively quickly, but it took a little bit because there's not a lot of instructions out there. So, but I will say the connectors are fantastic. Once you get them installed, they're tops. Just so you know what I'm talking about, this is what I was using before, which is a big giant phone plug plugged into a little piece of PVC stuff that I made basically clipped into the end of a blade. And then in the hilt was this thing, giant phone plug, which is huge, and that was in there. And then you had to make sure that the power to the sound card was off when you plugged in, because otherwise it would short out. And it worked. It wasn't the most ideal. And then I kept almost every single time I put this thing in my case to take it to a troop, this would get bent because it's sticking so far out of the blade that it would get bent. Inevitably, even if I was just insanely careful with it, it still would get bent. So, as I've been eagerly waiting for forever, the Custom Saber Shop's Neopixel Connectors, which they finally released. It's not just theirs, it's a lot of guys, a lot of people who do sabers working together. And I gotta say, they did a fantastic job. The connectors that I'm now using are basically these little tiny guys here. So you got this little disc with some traces on it, and then this little guy here with some pogo pins. Pogo pins, feed through this little guy here, solder to the back side, clamp it all together, put it all together, and then this goes on here, and this little thing ends up going on the end of the blade, and you end up with this. See if I can get that close enough. You're not going to be able to see it. It's too bright. Anyway, that's what you end up with. And then on the inside, I don't know. Yeah, it's way too bright. Anyway, it's a fantastic system because you don't have to worry about the power being on or off. You don't have to worry about orientation, which the more stable blades or stable blade connectors like the GX stuff or aviation plugs, whatever you want to call them, where they have multi-pins and stuff. Those are great. They're super strong. They're super good connection, but you have to make sure that they're oriented correctly when you plug the blade in. In other words, you have to put the blade in and twist it until you feel it click in and go in. And for any of you that wear any sort of costume with headgear, it's super easy to see everything you're doing because it's impossible and not easy to see at all. So whereas this is, basically it's just plug in, it's ready to go. Power on, power off, doesn't matter. So this is a saber I finished up for a friend.
I am your father.
In California. It's one of 2 that I'm doing, and then I won't be doing any sabers for a while I get some other stuff taken care of in life. But it's a little weird not having any light come on when you push the button. Anyway, but plug the blade in, and it turns on. Turns off. Turns on. Off. On. Doesn't matter. That's the brilliant thing about this connection. Works just like any other blade would. You attach this down so the blade's secure. Turn on. Of course it has. And this is an enhanced red blade, so the white, like the blaster block or the flash on clash, doesn't show up quite as well. it still shows up well, and I'm under a lot of really bright light right now, so that's why it kind of looks orange or washed out a little bit. But it really looks good. I really like it. And the bonus is that when it's not on, it still looks like a red lightsaber blade-ish. So that is fantastic. I can't wait to do my own saber with this connection system, which currently, anytime I troop, I don't have I have a thing to hang on my belt, but I have no way of making it actually work because I took mine all apart, or ripped out the connections. And so, anyway, here we are. Yes. So, hey, it is fantastic. Really, really, really like it. The Neopixels. So the positives of the Neopixels are they look fantastic. It's totally even illumination all the way down the blade. You can do the blaster block thing. The flash on clash is super bright. Really, really eye-catching. You can scroll in and out. The extension retraction thing is great. The downside of Neopixels is they're a little bit more fragile for dueling. Not much, depending on the setup, depending on how you do it. They'll stand up to some dueling, but obviously there's a bunch of little LEDs running down this that aren't cheap, by the way, but there are a bunch of LEDs running down this, and so hitting this hard, even though there's foam and other stuff wrapping in around the Neopixels, hitting it hard it's going to take a toll eventually. The other downside is power. They use a lot of power. So in this, if you look on my other videos, you can see where I've usually used 18650s. I've used a 26650, which is almost 2 times the capacity of an 18650. It also is almost as big around as this hilt, so it barely fits in here, but it's in there. And it'll work great. I think it'll give about an hour and 45 minutes to maybe an hour, 2 hours of run time, depending on how often, you turn the saber off and turn it back on, because every time you turn it off and let it sit for a little while, the battery kind of has a chance to regenerate a bit. And anyway, so that's the only downside. Those are the 2 major downsides, and they're more expensive. The Neopixels are more expensive because you've got to buy 2 LED strips, and then this blade is now a unit. And then you can't use this as a flashlight like you could before, or blind somebody like I could before. So they're more expensive. I think it's worth it personally because it looks amazing. If you're not going to do a ton of dueling, it looks so good. It looks so good, and I do have a troop video that I need to edit and upload. It's from the Ronald McDonald house, and we actually got a fair amount of footage, and I just haven't had time to edit it yet. I'm sorry. I'm working on it. I'll get it out to you as soon as possible. And actually, I will say, no video at all, but it was a absolute blast. We got to troop the one-man Star Wars show for 3 showings that he had up here, Charles Ross, and man, it was a blast. I mean, we were there for, half hour, 45 minutes at the beginning, just to be in the lobby as people came in, which was fun. And I had my saber out, not this one, but mine. And then we got to watch the show, and then afterward we went out and hung out with him for a little bit. Really, really nice guy. The show is hilarious. If you haven't seen the one-man Star Wars show yet, and it's in your area, or it comes to your area, man, take the chance to get to go see it. It's really funny. I laughed really, really hard the whole way through. So a really great show, really fun guy. And it was an absolute blast. I have no footage of it. You won't see anything, and I'm sorry. Maybe I'll throw some pictures on in the vlog that I upload next, just so you can see some of the pictures. But it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, actually. Yeah, I mean, basically, if you look at the vlog from when we did the Performing Arts Center, it basically looked like that. It was like that a lot, only less pot and less alcohol involved. So. Arturo asked me if they used a Neopixel for Rogue One and TFA saber props. I would say probably more likely Straw Hat, and I think that's what Richard was saying. Yeah, which is the little 5mm LEDs all put in. But if you look on the bonus features on TFA, the sabers are being controlled remotely by a special effects person. That's how they're doing the flashes and stuff like that. Somebody's actually back there triggering all that, especially when they locked up and stuff. And then you can see other ones where sections of the strings are burnt out and not working. But they definitely use string blades. I agree with Richard, they're probably the 5mm strings. And then the whole sabers were remote controlled as far as the flash effects and the clash effects and stuff like that were remote controlled by somebody else. But they turned out great. And it's true, the difference between Rogue One and The Force Awakens and all of the other Star Wars movies, once you notice what a lit saber prop looks like in the movies and what the ones that aren't lit, even though they've been rotoscoped and they look like lightsabers, there's no reflections, there's no glow around them at all. The difference is so stark. It's incredible. And, the reflections in their eyes and stuff like that, it opened up a whole new possibility of how they film those movies because of having real lightsabers. So, great question. But yeah, it was really, really good. The Amazing Cranes, you're so jealous you got to go to a troop like that. Yeah, you'll probably have way more opportunities to troop stuff like that than we do up here. It's really cool when we get to troop something like that, like the one-man Star Wars show up here, because it's kind of rare. Yep, and Reap God was there with his ball, looking fantastic. Was that sitting through the whole show for you in your costume? And there was a guy there in a giant Ruby's Chewbacca. I could not, because they encourage people to come in costume. I just couldn't imagine sitting through a show wearing a Ruby's Chewbacca. Must have been hard. Anyway. Hey, Matt. Let's see. Hey, Vader Nation. Yeah, I would have to say, from everybody that I've talked to, especially all the people that have done both costumes between Vader and Kylo, everybody I've heard says Kylo is hotter because you have multiple layers. They're super tight layers. If you do it right, they're like waxed and sprayed with paint to make them look that kind of armor look, the shine and stuff, which means you get no breathability, even though it's like, well, kind of a heavyweight cotton and stuff, a lot of it. And then you have multiple layers of those things. It's not fun. With Vader, it's, layer of leather, layer of wool, another layer of wool, well, a layer of satin and a layer of wool. But you still get airflow around those things because they're not, except for the leather suit, they're not skin tight. And the leather actually breathes really well, especially once it's kind of been saturated a little bit. And it really does a good job. Much better than a lot of other stuff out there, especially pleather. Don't ever do pleather. If you're ever thinking about it, don't do pleather. Sean, your next troop will be 35 degrees Celsius. Good Lord, that's hot. Gonna be fun. Good luck, brother. Drink a lot of water beforehand and a lot of water afterhand. You're gonna need it. M.A. Blair's asked, was Vader's lightsaber in Rogue One done with a real prop too? Yes, it was. The saber lit up, so they had a blade somewhat like this. Again, probably remote controlled by a special effects artist. But at the same time that the blade lit up, they also had some backlighting, some other lighting around red that matched the saber color that they cued on with that saber blade. So it multiplied the effect and made it look way more badass because, that scene is awesome. So, hey, D1, not much is up here. We don't have a lot of snow. It's been pretty warm and it rained, which means the roads are all now covered in ice. Not very good. Not very good at all. Arturo, what are you doing with my Return of the Jedi suit now that you retired? Because I switched to Empire Strikes Back, you mean? I'm going to be, actually, this is my Return of the Jedi armor and helmet here. So it needs some work. It's a little beat up, but I'm going to get it repainted, and then I'll put it for sale on the Sith Lord attachment. And most of my other Return of the Jedi props will be going for sale on the Sith Lord detachment as well. Yeah, so hopefully that'll help out some up-and-coming Return of the Jedi Vaders who won't have to wait in line for years for some of their stuff. So that's what I'm doing with mine. Richard says his maul is not that hot because of raw silk. That's interesting, Richard. I was kind of curious about that because maul has quite a few layers as well. Granted, they're not tight layers like Kylo is, but I was curious about that. So, the random channel asks, from the Badlands Garrison, welcome. Anybody trooping for the opening night of The Last Jedi? We don't know. The short answer is we don't know yet. We've had a couple of requests. We have not been able to get any of the theaters. The requests are by private parties, or other companies, let's say that. They're by other companies or nonprofits or what have you, for us to come be there. The theaters have not given us a solid answer yet as to whether or not we can come do it in costume. Because obviously, if we're not there in costume, it's not the same. So, anyway, I don't know if we are or not. We'll find out. Anyway. Hey, Darth Jowl, welcome to the stream. I know probably a lot of 501st guys are trooping opening night. Up here, we've just had no luck with that yet, and it's kind of been a bummer because anyway, it is what it is. The random channel. You're lucky your weather is suitable for your Kylo gear. It's minus 15 Celsius. Yeah, that's about where we've been living too. Oh, well, not right now, but we were in that range. So, let's see. Duan got his Vader's Vault red, green, blue Hero Luke lightsaber Friday. Ooh, I bet that's nice. Vader's Vault makes fantastic stuff. I love their stuff. It's really good. And they were one of the ones who helped to design and create these new Neopixel connectors. And of course, they're doing Neopixel stuff. Eventually, I think they're going to be offering pre-built blades for Neopixel sabers and stuff, which I'm looking forward to that and seeing what they are. Because I like their regular lightsaber blades. They're really good. So, let's see. Hey, Cy Wolf, welcome. M.A. Bless asks if I'm selling my Vader armor, I'm still going to cosplay. I am absolutely still going to dress up as Vader and do the stuff that we do as the 501st Legion here in Alaska. I've just switched from Return of the Jedi to Empire Strikes Back, of which the differences are small. There's a few reasons I switched, but most of the differences are pretty small. Nobody would ever notice them except for people who really have a little bit of an obsession about Darth Vader. So I've switched to Empire Strikes Back, and that's what I'm going to be doing as Vader from now on. So my Return of the Jedi stuff, some of that stuff will go up for sale on the Sith Lord Detachment forums when it's ready. But some of it needs a little bit of repair and a little bit of a fix-up before I do. Let's see. The random channel asks if I've ever thought about doing a Count Dooku as 501st. You felt like I could look like the younger Dooku and have the height for it too. It's true. I am the same exact height as Christopher Lee was, and I almost have the hair coloring. It's gonna be gray here. Give me another couple years, it'll be totally gray. But yeah, no, I haven't thought about doing a Dooku. I have one costume that will be in the works as soon as I've got everything ready for it, and then the other costume I really want to do is a Wookiee. So that's kind of my next goals. The Wookiee is going to be 2.5 years before it's done, because I made a promise to a friend that we will do Wookiees together, and so that is going to wait. I may or may not start collecting parts for it beforehand, but anyway. Let's see. Shane asks, where do I get my paint jobs done? So I assume you were talking about the paint jobs for this here. I use a guy in Florida, and his Facebook page is JMC Helmets. J is in Juliet, M is in Mike, C is in Charlie Helmets. If you look him up on Facebook, that's him. He does phenomenal work. I'm not sure how backed up he is right now, but he does really, really, really top-notch work. And he's painted all of my helmets and armor up to this point. Really great guy. So that's who does it. Let's see. Old Man Sloan as Dooku. Yeah, that would be me. Arturo, what saber do I recommend for a first timer like you? Any good simple saber would be great. Now, if you're going to use it with a costume, obviously you need to get a saber that works with that costume. So, like in my case, Master Replicas was one of the only ones at the time who was producing an Empire Strikes Back. Well, they weren't producing, but you can find used Master Replicas sabers around, and so that's what I have. And I gutted it and rebuilt it and did basically what I did to this, which is gutted it and built a bunch of new stuff on the inside. And then I've rebuilt it like 6 or 7 or 8 times since then, using different LEDs, different setups, different cards, and now Neopixels. And now I'm rebuilding it one more time with the new Neopixel connectors, just because apparently I'm a glutton for punishment. So, yeah. So, yeah, that's where I am. M.A. Bliss asked if I would do like Tarful Wookiee or with an armor or just a plain Chewbacca. So I'm going to do a plain Chewbacca. And the reason for that is because no matter what, you're probably going to get called Chewbacca anyway, since basically anybody in a Star Wars costume that's all black gets called Darth Vader. I figure the same is probably true for any Wookiees. They're going to get called Chewbacca no matter what. And I do not want to do a costume with hard parts or hard armor. I want a really easy to transport and easy to wear costume versus Darth Vader. That's not easy to transport. It's not terrible to wear, but it's heavy and it's a little bit hot. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. Shane, you asked about clear coat. Yeah, he does all of that. He uses really top-notch automotive paint and does a great job. So. But as far as I know, he only does Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi Vader helmets. I don't know if he does anything else. I mean, I'm sure he could clear coat something too, but you might be better off just going to a local auto body shop and asking them to clear coat it for you. So, Gamma, you're doing an ISB officer. Excellent. Connor, I've got the hype for Kylo as well. I know. I actually did think about doing a Kylo once, but how do I say this? It's not that I don't like Kylo. I don't like Kylo as much as Vader is my all-time favorite, bar none. And there's a huge difference between him and my next favorite. But so the next thing I wanted to go is something that would be really recognizable, a lot more easier to wear, but also really a big draw. And that would be Chewbacca or a Wookiee. Because I'm not going to fit in a seat. And I'm not building an R2-D2 because my friend Brian's building one, and you don't need 2 anyway. And so what I understand is that if there's an R2 there, R2 steals the show from everybody. If Chewbacca's there, he'll give Vader a run for his money, and then Vader is like, the next kind of big draw, big star pull, what have you. So anyway, but my friend Brian and I decided that we wanted to do Wookiees down the road at a certain point. So, Philip, you would love to be Emperor Palpatine? Well, you could certainly do it. If you want to learn more about it, then you should join the forums at the Sith Lord Detachment and start reading and researching there. Hey, fantastic raids. Not sure what you mean. Didn't you call when I mentioned that I was doing a Chewie? I don't remember. Anyway, go with BB-8 1-to-1. Anyway, Gamma said, I'm not doing a Krennic. I don't want to wear a cape. I'm doing a New Hope ISB officer. Oh, that's good. I thought about doing Krennic for a while too, actually, because I did kind of like the cape. The only thing I don't like, and it's my same pet peeve with Kylo's new cape, is that it stops above the ankles, and I don't understand why. Capes just, in my opinion, in my not humble opinion, capes look best when they go down to the ground. That's just, I don't understand like the half-length cape and the like knee-length cape, and those look stupid to me. And anyway, I'm not saying they're bad or anything. I don't like the way they look when they're only that long. So anyway, yeah. No capes, end of mode. Yes, I know. That was what I love that part of that movie. That was fantastic. Let's see. Yeah, ages ago I mentioned it, and anyway. Thanks, Darth Jowl. Have a good night. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for the other stuff. Appreciate it. Gonzalez, I'm sorry. I just haven't seen your comments yet, so ask me again, and I'll try and catch it this time. Shane asks, what kind of material do I use for my Darth Vader cape? That is a like medium weight wool that's lined with satin. And it's a worsted wool. It's not like a suiting wool, or well, technically it'd be a suiting wool, but it's not a like, it doesn't have a pattern to it. It's like felted wool. Felted wool. That's the word I was looking for, and that's what I use for my robe too. Sorry. Arturo asks this question: what is the minimum height to be Vader? You're 5'7", and with boots and lifts you're 6'2". That's great. There's no minimum height or body shape requirements for Vader. The main thing is that the costume on you looks like Vader. So at 6'2", you're doing great. That's really good. Man, if you could break 6 foot as Vader, you're great. Because you got to remember, to a kid who's 4 foot something, you're huge and awesome. So that's the most important part, in my opinion. So anyway, Philip asks, which version of Darth Vader is your favorite? Oh, man, that's, oh. Okay, let me ask it first. Sorry, got distracted. So I don't know if we're trooping for the Last Jedi troop yet, Jack. We're waiting to find out. So who knows? Anyway, my favorite Lightside character, I'd say, is Obi-Wan Kenobi. I think he's awesome. So which version of Vader is my favorite? I really like Empire Strikes Back, and I really like Return of the Jedi. My favorite is just, it's between those two. And it probably has shifted. It used to be Return of the Jedi. Now it's a little more Empire Strikes Back. But those two are my favorite. And those two are the most alike. So I'd have to say right now I'm leaning on more the Empire Strikes Back side being my favorite over Return of the Jedi. I really love the scene in Return of the Jedi, though, where Vader comes off the shuttle to the waiting commander who's terrified that he's going to get choked out. Anyway. So Gonzalez asks, how much was my Darth Vader suit? Okay, so this is a question I get asked a lot, and this is the answer I give every single time. A Vader suit will cost you anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000. That's about where you're going to end up if you're going to do a good quality Vader costume. Anovis has an offering out there that starts at like $2,500 and goes up to $5 something. But if you're going to do your own, even that's what you're going to end up spending. Even if you build or sew and do a lot of the parts yourself, that's about where you're going to be. So between $2,000 and $5,000 is where you're going to end up for a good quality Vader costume. And mine is in that range. And that's the answer that I'm going to give, and that's the answer I'm going to stick to. So hopefully that answers your question. Sean Peterson says the Kylo surcoat should stop about 1.5 inches off the ground. It's true. And I like the way the surcoat looks because it's low. It comes all the way down. I just, the cape, it just throws me. It loses the power. In my opinion, it loses the power and the silhouette when you see this silhouette coming down and then there's 2 little feet sticking out from the bottom. And that's where it just kills me. Every single time I'm like, the part of the power and the ominous presence of Vader is that cape goes down to the floor and it's just huge, hulking black figure. And so, yeah, that's partly why I like it. And yes, capes are harder to clean when they're close to the floor. It's true. It's harder to move around sometimes. It's true. Sometimes they get stepped on. It's true. They still look awesomer. More awesome. Yeah, I know awesomer isn't a word, but I use it anyway. So yeah, Krennic. I liked Krennic. I liked his cape. I'm much taller than the actor. I still could do it. Obviously, I got the right hair coloring for it and stuff. I have to learn how to talk like he did. Kind of that interesting way of talking. So anyway, but it just, you know what? Yeah, I'm not doing either of those costumes. Just not going to happen. So anyway, that's where I am. The random channel asks how long I'm doing the live stream. I'll be doing it for another, what is it now? About another 10 minutes or so. So, let's see. Oh my gosh. You guys have asked so many questions and chatting so much, which is awesome. It's just really hard for me to keep up. So I'm glad people like Richard are around to help answer some of the questions as well. So, Shane says, you believe us to expect your suit was only $3,000 to $5,000. You're not buying it. Well, you don't have to buy it, but that's the range. So, yeah, he has a list, a certain list. Director credit, certain. It's a very specific list, though. It's different. Anyway, it's interesting. So a Palpatine can be done for fairly inexpensively, especially if you find your own fabric and stuff like that. So, Palpatine's a great costume. The hard part is doing either the prosthetics and the makeup or the full-on silicone mask, which I'm not as big of a fan of the silicone mask as I am applied prosthetics and makeup. Look much better because you get more natural movement. So Arturo asked, now that I changed from ESB Vader from Return of the Jedi, how do I feel about the chain under the mask instead of out? It's different. It still is taking some getting used to. It doesn't choke as bad as I thought it would, but that's probably also partly because I have a really good cape that basically would sit on my shoulders if I had a chain or not. So I know that plays into it. And I haven't been out in like high winds or anything like that either in it. So, Amazing Cranes want me to ignite the saber again. All right. I know why.
I am your father.
Because you're waiting for it. Look at that. And see even the tip lights up really bright. Which is another great thing that I like about this. Hopefully that satisfies you. I gotta keep up with the chat. Let's see. Do you think the new Neopixels could be built into a Corbath K4 body? I don't know. The K4 would be really hard because it's such a shallow blade depth as it is. It could probably be done, but it would be challenging. Really, really challenging, I would think. So, Fantastic Raids asked if I could do the Sidious Palpy. Probably could. I'm a lot taller than he is, and I have to bend way, way over, and I'm not a big fan of that. So, yeah. Gonzalez, no, he is not. I don't know why you keep asking that. Anyway, the Vader had the best lines. I do not your trust, only your obedience. Yeah, do not require your trust, only your obedience. Vader had great lines, and I have to say that a huge part of being Vader and doing Vader well and convincingly is the attitude that you carry. And it's this just, you don't fear anything or anyone, and you know that you own the room when you walk into it. And that's the way Vader was. And so to be a good Vader, you have to kind of walk into a room that way and own it. And it takes a little bit of getting used to, especially because you're in this hot, clunky, awkward feeling costume till you kind of get the feel of it. And so it's definitely a thing where your head is held high and your shoulders are back, your chest is out, and you just walk in there like you own the place, because you do. Thanks, Cywolf. It is a great saber, and this is going to a friend in California that is shall we say, very, very excited. And he's been patiently waiting for this because we have been patiently waiting for these connectors. So, yeah, he's very, very, very excited. Amazing Crane says Vader successfully ruined his other costumes. He's so glad you sold all but 2 others to buy Vader. It's true. There's something about Vader. And now you can understand why Vader is the most heavily franchised character from the Star Wars franchise, which means the merchandise character, I mean. That's why they're Vader toasters and stuff. It's because Vader just, man, he has some staying power. So I'll be curious to see if Kylo will carry that same power after these next few movies. We'll see. It depends a lot on what they do with his character. I don't know if they're going to do it. So, Brian says, the Goth 3D design chassis require 30-aught wire. Can you still use that for Neo builds? You can. Be sure you use good quality stranded wire. Like, what is it? PTFE wire, I think is the name of it, is really, really good. It's like silver-coated copper. Great. But the Goth 3D designs, I have used those chassis in a few builds, and they will accept up to 26 gauge wire. It's tight, but it can be done because I've done it with 26 gauge wire. So don't think that you have to have 30. Shane, that just sounds terrible. So the random channel asks how long I've been a 501st member. So I was approved a little over 2 years ago, about 2.5 years ago, right? Yeah, about 2.5 years ago. So not that long. Long enough to be this close to hitting 100 events as Darth Vader. And that's not counting the events that I just went to as a handler. So pretty exciting stuff. Important question. What is my favorite Star Wars movie? Empire Strikes Back. No doubt. Empire Strikes Back. Raider Fett asks, is the costume comfy? Is my Vader costume comfy? I assume that's what you're asking. My Vader costume actually is fairly comfortable. Like, I don't mind it. It's warm and it gets heavy after a bit. But everything that I have is it's tailor-made for me, essentially. And so it's comfortable that way. It doesn't, like, it's not bad. And I've got the helmet and the armor all dialed in right where they sit great. And I know the feel of it. And so I really like it. It's quite comfortable. It just gets heavy after a while because you have a lot of weight. Basically, the robe, the cape, the armor, and the helmet all sitting on your neck and shoulders. And the robe weighs about, 20 pounds. The armor weighs 6-7 pounds. The helmet weighs 4 pounds. It starts adding up. That weight adds up after a bit. So it's a lot of weight sitting on your shoulders after a while. It's much easier if you're not just standing still. If you're walking around, moving around, it's much easier to go for a longer period of time than if you're just standing still taking pictures. That really takes a toll on you. So, yeah. Connor asks if I'm up to date on my most recent Marvel Vader comics. I am. They are a great read. I really have enjoyed reading them. They're really, really good. Arturo asks, let's see, wait. I can't say your username. I'm not even going to try. Is there any character you would like to see done more often or that you've never seen done before? Fett, personally, Boba Fett, good Boba Fett. I don't see those very often. It's an expensive build and it's a difficult build, but man, they look good. They're really, really good looking. So at least up here, I would like to see that. So there are a few coming along. But anyway, Arturo asks, if I want to paint an Ultra Saber's blade to put an LED string in it, what type of paint should you use? I wouldn't paint it. I would get, you can buy the empty blades from Custom Saber Shop and do it from there. And that's the way I would go. Painting it, it's hard to get the same look. Otherwise, the only thing you really can use is brake light paint that you get in an auto body shop, something like that. So, yes, Volkswagen Gamer says, did I see or hear about Ryan Johnson's recent interview? He said that we should expect a new lightsaber hue in The Last Jedi. Yes, I have seen that, and I'm curious to see. I am curious to see, period, what saber Luke has. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Yeah. Let's see. I have no idea what you were talking about, Sean, and Amazing Cranes, but looks like you guys have settled it or are getting somewhere. Anyway, Justin asks, any suggestions where to get a good Death Trooper voice changer? I don't know off the top of my head. A great place to find out about that would be the Spec Ops detachment forums. You can go join those. You don't have to be a 501st member to join, but if you're interested in learning about Death Troopers or anything to do with Death Troopers, that'd be the place to go. Spec Ops detachment is great. So, I already answered that, Gonzalez. Let's see. Joshua Joe asked, do I play the new Battlefront? I have not played the new Battlefront other than the beta. I've been avoiding it, honestly, because the whole money-making scheme that EA has pulled it turned me off of it, so I haven't played it. Yes, I agree. Amazing Crane says, look up Fetastic 22 on Instagram. Really good Fet. He is a really, really, really good Fet. So, the Random Channel asks, what's my favorite Star Wars ship? I would have to say the Star Destroyer is my favorite. I really like the design of the Star Destroyer. I just think it's awesome. It looks great. So, yeah. Connor says he hopes Luke still has his green Return of the Jedi hilt. I hope so too. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't, other than there were 30 years of him 30 years between then and now for him to like misplace it or lose it or drop it in the ocean. I don't know. I hope he has it. So, Sean Peterson asked if someone's going to die other than Leia. Who do I think it would be? No idea. No idea at all. Gonzalez asked if all my helmets have the cooling system. Yes, all of my helmets have the cooling system. And I can't imagine not having a cooling system in my helmet. Just don't know why you would want to do that. Brian Friedman asked D-rings or Clovertech, my opinion. So I like the Clovertech attachment system. It's really, really great. I use a D-ring because that's what's accurate for Vader. He uses a D-ring, except in Revenge of the Sith that he uses a Clovertech. But every other time it's a D-ring, and it's hung on his belt. So that's what I use, and I like it that way. So anyway, bye Gonzalez. Have a good night. Amazing Cranes, aim into Bucket AC. Yes, absolutely, Bucket AC. So, all right, I'm going to wrap up the stream here. 3 more minutes or so, maybe a little less. Beyond Blast Doors, you just caught me live. Fantastic. Thanks for joining us live. Just subbed and gave me a thumbs up. Thanks. I'll check out your channel after I get done with the stream. So, let's see. How did I secure the hard hat straps in my Darth Vader helmet? They are secured by 2 bolts right about here that bolt through the side of the faceplate. And then the hard hat straps sit in that. So that's how those are attached there, which is great. Anyway, yeah. And I would say too, foam padding and straps, like just pack it with foam and then strap it to your head, is the way it was done in the movies. Hard hat liners are infinitely more comfortable and more breathable and really, really nice. So that's what I would do if I were you. Operator Gamma, see you later. Thanks for joining in. Random Channel, one last question. Do I have any theories for the Last Jedi? I have tons of theories. I don't have time to discuss any of them now. I don't think Rey's going to turn to the dark side. I don't think Kylo's going to turn to the good side. I don't think Luke is going to turn to the dark side either. I think there will be a lot of back and forth. I think all of the trailers that they release for these things are really good at misdirecting us down a path, and they do it on purpose. So anyway, that's about it. I have not tried to think about it too much. I'm not trying to figure it out before it happens. I'm going to go watch the movie, enjoy it, and then I'll probably do a live stream about it after to, see what you all thought, because I'd like to hear your thoughts and opinions on the new Star Wars movie after it comes out. So I'll go see it, and then we'll do a live stream, and we can all discuss what you thought and how you liked it or not. You should Beyond the Blast Doors is nervous. Luke isn't going to leave at you. I think it will. I think he will. Yeah. Personally, I'm hoping. Well, yeah, never mind. The porgs just kind of bug me anyway. But it is what it is. No, you can't. Shane asked if you could see the bolts on the other side of the straps. No, you can't, because they're way up in here somewhere, and so you can't. And then you use black-headed screws, and you can't see them at all. They blend in really well. Let's see. You Bet the Random Channel. Glad to answer questions. Cody, thanks. Welcome to the stream. I'm glad you found the channel, and I'm glad you're hanging out tonight. So just for one more time, Neopixel sabers, fantastic. I love them. Not for dueling side, but just for the look side of things. They look amazing. And that right there, being able to scroll that out it's so good. It's so good. And then this too, the blaster block, where you can see, and flash on clash, just awesome. So Neopixel sabers, very good stuff, very cool. You've seen them in a couple of maybe two videos so far, and you'll be seeing it in my videos from now on anytime I have a bladed saber. They're fantastic. The custom saber shop and everybody else who worked on these new connectors did a fantastic job. They are really great. Really well thought out, really easy to work with, and fairly easy to install, at least from an installer's perspective. So it's great. Hey, Obi Nam Kenobi, welcome to the stream. Nice name. I like that. Let's see, Eric, I am just going to be closing up the stream here. So, but if you haven't done already, go to the Sith Lord attachment and post there. And I'll see if I can help you out over there. Anyway, yeah, that's it for tonight. Like this shirt. This is one of my favorite shirts too. It's awesome. Took me forever to find. I would like to thank everybody who's subscribed to this channel. I really appreciate your subscribing. And everybody who watches and likes these videos and shares these videos, please keep doing that. Hit the like button, share the videos, let people know about this channel. And, if you haven't already, think about subscribing, because it's pretty fun. It's pretty awesome. Other than these sorts of live streams once a week, I do other things, tutorials, tips, tricks, and my experiences being a 501st Legion Darth Vader and trooping around town in Anchorage, Alaska. So thank you everybody for tuning in tonight. Thanks for hanging out with me for a little bit. And I guess probably the next time I'll stream is right before The Last Jedi. So we might take the next stream and just talk about The Last Jedi the whole time. I'll throw every weird, wild theory out there and what we think and go from there. So, yeah. Thanks everybody. I will see you again soon on the next video.